Story lovers, you arrived at Luxury Tales, where hidden empires collide with forbidden love, and destiny strikes without warning. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because tonight's story is raw, unpredictable, and drenched in secrets money can't hide. Now sit back. Luxury Tales unfolds. Sharon Benson's life had always been shaped by discipline rather than luck. She lived in a cramped apartment on the edge of the city, the kind where the walls held more memories than comfort. She woke every morning before dawn, not because she enjoyed it, but because survival demanded structure. Her parents had died years earlier, leaving her to raise her younger brother, while working small, exhausting jobs that barely paid rent. Sharon believed in dignity, even when life offered her none. She refused shortcuts, favors, or pity, choosing instead to carry herself with quiet pride. Despite her struggles, Sharon had dreams she guarded fiercely. She loved reading about architecture and business leadership, imagining a future where she wasn't invisible. On weekends, she cleaned offices after hours, studying the framed portraits of executives and wondering how power reshaped people. Poverty had taught her observation, patience, and restraint. She learned how to endure humiliation without losing her sense of self. When eviction notices appeared on her door, Sharon made a decision she never thought she would. She applied for a cleaning position at Vincent Group, the most powerful corporation in the city. She knew nothing about the CEO personally, only his reputation: ruthless, brilliant, untouchable. Still, she pressed submit, unaware that this single act would redirect the course of her life. Micheal Vincent ruled an empire built on precision and discipline. His mornings began before sunrise in a glass-walled penthouse overlooking the city he controlled through contracts and influence. Every decision he made carried weight, and every mistake from his employees came with consequences. Micheal believed order was the only defense against chaos. He trusted numbers more than people, and results more than promises. His wealth had not softened him. If anything, it sharpened his isolation. Relationships felt transactional, affection unreliable. He had seen too many people drawn to him for his name rather than his character. As CEO of Vincent Group, he enforced rules strictly, believing leniency bred weakness. The board respected him, feared him, and watched him closely. Yet beneath his composed exterior, Micheal carried a quiet dissatisfaction. His success felt hollow at times, his achievements mechanical. He wondered when ambition had replaced purpose. The company was thriving, but loyalty within its walls was fragile. Power attracted envy, and Micheal knew enemies did not always stand outside the gates. Some smiled across boardroom tables. Sharon received the email confirmation late at night. She stared at the screen, rereading it as if it might disappear. She had been accepted for an interview at Vincent Group. Fear and hope collided inside her chest. She ironed her only formal outfit carefully, preparing herself mentally for rejection. She had learned never to expect kindness from powerful institutions. The next day, she stood before the towering headquarters, glass reflecting the sky like a challenge. Inside, everything smelled of polish and authority. Employees moved quickly, eyes focused, voices controlled. Sharon felt out of place, but she refused to shrink. She answered questions honestly, refusing to exaggerate her skills or hide her background. What impressed the hiring manager wasn't her experience, but her composure. Sharon didn't beg. She didn't apologize for being poor. She spoke with calm clarity. When she left the building, she didn't know she had already been noticed not by Micheal, but by forces within the company that viewed integrity as a threat. Micheal spent the afternoon reviewing internal reports when a familiar tension surfaced. Departments that once performed efficiently were slipping. Mistakes were being concealed, accountability avoided. Someone was undermining structure from within. He summoned his senior managers, issuing warnings without accusations. Silence followed, heavy and revealing. That same day, Sharon received a call offering her the job. Cleaner, entry level, immediate start. She accepted without hesitation. That night, she packed her small bag, reminding herself this was temporary. She would endure anything for stability. Unbeknownst to her, a few employees resented new hires who didn't understand the unspoken hierarchy. The cleaning staff were often blamed for misplaced documents and minor accidents. Sharon was walking into an environment where weakness was hunted. Still, she promised herself one thing: she would never allow anyone to force her to betray her values. Sharon's first week began in silence. She cleaned offices after hours, listening more than she spoke. She noticed executives who shouted when no one challenged them, assistants who falsified reports quietly, and supervisors who enjoyed humiliating cleaners. She absorbed it all without reacting. Meanwhile, Micheal intensified internal audits. He sensed deception but lacked proof. His assistant warned him that morale was deteriorating, but Micheal believed discomfort exposed truth. He preferred pressure to complacency. One evening, Sharon overheard two managers arguing about missing files. One casually suggested blaming the new cleaner. Sharon froze. She realized how easily she could become invisible and expendable. That night, she wrote her brother a note, reminding him to stay strong no matter what happened. She didn't know how soon that strength would be tested. On her official first full day, Sharon was assigned to the executive floor, an unusual decision. The tension there was sharper, the rules stricter. She followed instructions meticulously, careful not to touch anything unnecessary. Still, eyes followed her, judgmental and cold. A supervisor snapped at her for walking too slowly. Another accused her of using the wrong cleaning solution. Sharon apologized once, then remained silent. She understood power dynamics, but she also understood dignity. Later that afternoon, a document went missing. Accusations spread quickly. Sharon was summoned by a department head, who spoke to her like she was already guilty. She denied touching anything beyond her duties. Her calm response angered him more. He promised consequences. What Sharon didn't know was that Micheal was watching the situation unfold through security reports, curious about the cleaner who refused to panic. Micheal requested a review of the missing document incident. The truth surfaced quietly. It had been misplaced by a senior analyst. No apology was issued to Sharon. She returned to work without acknowledgement. Yet something had shifted. Micheal began noticing patterns. Sharon didn't gossip. She didn't complain. She didn't bend rules. In an environment fueled by ambition and deception, her presence was an anomaly. He asked his assistant about her background and learned she had no internal connections. Meanwhile, Sharon was warned by co-workers to know her place. Some hinted that survival meant compliance. Sharon listened, then ignored them. She had already survived worse than corporate hostility. She didn't come this far to surrender her principles. Pressure escalated. Sharon was deliberately assigned impossible tasks. When she completed them, more were added. Her body ached, but her spirit hardened. Each insult became fuel. Micheal, dealing with a hostile board meeting, felt increasingly disconnected from the people around him. Everyone wanted something. Everyone calculated advantage. He longed for honesty without motive. That evening, he crossed paths with Sharon in a corridor. Their eyes met briefly. She didn't bow, flinch, or smile. She simply nodded respectfully and continued walking. Micheal stopped, unsettled by the encounter. It wasn't defiance, but it wasn't submission either. Rumors began circulating that Sharon was arrogant. Some employees resented her composure. A trap was set. She was instructed to clean a restricted office without proper clearance. When confronted, Sharon refused. Calmly, clearly, she stated she would not break company rules even if ordered. The supervisor threatened her job. Sharon accepted the risk. The situation was escalated. Micheal was informed that a cleaner had refused instructions. His interest sharpened. He ordered Sharon brought to the executive floor the next morning. Sharon spent the night preparing herself for termination. She didn't cry. She ironed her uniform and reminded herself she had done nothing wrong. The executive boardroom was colder than Sharon expected. Micheal Vincent sat at the head of the table. Expression unreadable. Power filled the room. Sharon stood alone, heart steady. She was accused of insubordination. Given a chance to apologize, Sharon refused. Respectfully, firmly, she explained that she would never obey an order that violated policy or integrity, even if it cost her job. Her voice didn't shake. Her eyes didn't lower. Silence followed. Executives waited for Michael's response. Instead of firing her, Micheal stood, and the room held its breath. The silence that followed Micheal Vincent's sudden movement felt heavier than any accusation Sharon had ever endured. Executives exchanged glances, already calculating how this moment might reshape internal power. Micheal did not raise his voice. He did not express anger. Instead, he asked Sharon a simple question, why she believed rules mattered more than obedience. Sharon answered honestly. She spoke about dignity, responsibility, and how breaking rules to please authority only invited chaos. Her words were not rehearsed. They were lived truths. Micheal dismissed everyone else from the room. The board protested quietly, but he overruled them, alone with Sharon. He studied her carefully, not as a cleaner, but as a person who had refused to bend. He told her she had just exposed something dangerous within the company, how easily fear was weaponized. Sharon expected punishment. Instead, Micheal offered protection, not charity. Protection earned through integrity. By the end of the meeting, Sharon was reassigned under Michael's direct authority, not as a cleaner, but as a monitored internal assistant trainee. The announcement sent shockwaves through the company. Sharon walked out of the boardroom uncertain of her future, but aware that her life had crossed a point of no return. The backlash was immediate. Whispers followed Sharon through hallways. Accusations of favoritism spread rapidly. Some employees openly mocked her, while others tried to manipulate her newfound proximity to power. Sharon refused to engage. She focused on learning, observing, and proving she belonged where she now stood. Micheal faced his own resistance. The board challenged his decision aggressively, accusing him of emotional judgment. He countered with evidence of internal corruption he had been quietly collecting. The confrontation was explosive. Several executives were suspended pending investigation. Michael's authority was reaffirmed, but his enemies grew bolder. Privately, Micheal began mentoring Sharon. He tested her judgment with real responsibilities, not favors. She struggled, learned, adapted. Their conversations deepened, not romantically yet, but intellectually and morally. For the first time in years, Micheal felt seen without being consumed by expectation. As Sharon's role expanded, so did the risks. Anonymous threats appeared in her email. Subtle sabotage followed her work. Someone wanted her gone. Micheal increased security, but Sharon refused to hide. She had lived in fear before. She would not return to it now. Their relationship shifted unexpectedly during a late-night crisis when a major contract nearly collapsed. Sharon identified a flaw no one else noticed. Her insight saved millions. Micheal watched her work under pressure and realized something unsettling. He trusted her more than anyone in the room. That night, Micheal confessed something he never shared. Power had cost him genuine connection. Sharon didn't comfort him. She didn't flatter him. She simply listened. That honesty deepened what neither was ready to name. The investigation exposed a senior executive who had been orchestrating internal chaos. When confronted, he accused Sharon publicly, claiming she manipulated Micheal. The company erupted into division. Sharon's name was dragged through speculation and media leaks. Micheal stood by her publicly, but privately he struggled. The pressure threatened the company's stability. Sharon offered to resign to protect the corporation. Micheal refused. He told her leadership meant standing firm when truth was inconvenient. The accused executive was removed permanently. Sharon was cleared officially. The company stabilized, but scars remained. Trust was fragile. Love, still unnamed, was growing quietly between two people who had never expected it. Micheal invited Sharon to observe high-level negotiations abroad. This was no longer mentorship. It was partnership. Sharon struggled with imposter syndrome, but she refused to retreat. She studied relentlessly, asked questions fearlessly, and earned respect gradually. During the trip, Micheal saw Sharon outside corporate walls. Her compassion towards service staff, her humility, her quiet strength. He realized his admiration had crossed into something deeper. Sharon, meanwhile, wrestled with her feelings. Loving a man like Micheal Vincent felt dangerous. Power distorted relationships. She feared losing herself. She resolved to remain grounded, no matter where life led. A final betrayal struck unexpectedly. A trusted ally leaked confidential data, causing market panic. Shares plummeted. The board demanded Micheal step down temporarily. The empire he built wavered. Micheal took responsibility publicly, absorbing the blow. Sharon refused to let him fall alone. She uncovered evidence linking the betrayal to a rival corporation. Her findings turned the tide. The truth emerged. Michael's leadership was restored. Sharon's reputation transformed completely. She was no longer seen as a cleaner who defied authority, but as a woman who reshaped it. Exhaustion followed victory. Micheal nearly collapsed from stress. Sharon stayed by his side, not as an employee, but as someone who cared deeply. The distance between them dissolved naturally. Micheal admitted he loved her, not because she defied him, but because she never tried to own him. Sharon accepted his feelings cautiously. She demanded equality, honesty, and respect. Micheal agreed without hesitation. Their bond was tested quietly, not through drama, but through choice. They chose each other without coercion. Micheal proposed privately, away from cameras and boardrooms. No spectacle, no power display, just sincerity. Sharon said yes with conditions. She would not be defined by his wealth. They announced their engagement professionally, setting clear boundaries. The company responded with surprise, then acceptance. Change had become inevitable. Sharon stepped into a leadership role shaped by ethics rather than fear. Micheal watched proudly as the woman once dismissed transformed the company's culture. Preparation for their future unfolded slowly. Sharon reconciled her past struggles with her present strength. Micheal learned vulnerability without weakness. They faced criticism, admiration, and scrutiny, but stood united. The company thrived under renewed integrity. Their story became quiet inspiration, not scandal. On a calm morning, Sharon walked through the Vincent Group headquarters, not as a cleaner, not as a symbol, but as a leader. Micheal stood beside her, no longer alone. Their journey had not been about rescue or power. It had been about courage meeting courage. A new beginning had arrived, earned, imperfect, and real. I'm glad you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to follow, share, and comment your thought about the story. See you in the next story.